Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. And here in the Bible Bistro, we're serving it up hot and fresh, just like Daily Dose Radio. 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, studying the Psalms verse by verse. That's what we do here. This is the finest 5-minute podcasting Bible study, studying the Psalms verse by verse, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, on the interwebs. Yes, you won't find anything fresher. It's right here on Daily Dose Radio. So today we're looking at Psalm 123, actually all this week. And we're going to do it a verse at a time. We've only got 4 verses here, so we're going to spread it out and look at it a little bit, maybe a little bit closer than we look at some of the other passages, just because we have so much going on here. And this is a beautiful, beautiful psalm. We're still headed towards Jerusalem. We are still writing in our travel log. We began back in 120, and now we're all the way here to 123. That's 4 psalms. We're into this adventure of heading towards Jerusalem. But now, in this psalm, we take a little bit of a turn. Suddenly, we understand that our progress toward our destination is not simply Jerusalem, but there's a truer sense, a truer destination for which or to which we are traveling. And so there's a lot here in this little Psalm 123. I hope you'll join me all this week as we study it. Let me give you today's verse, verse 1. Unto thee I lift up mine eyes, O thou that dwellest in the heavens. One of the theme words that we'll find in this passage is the word eyes. We have it in verse 1, twice in verse 2, actually 3 times in verse 2. And so we have the word 4 different times here in the psalm, and there's only 4 verses. So you see how heavily weighted the first 2 verses are with just that idea. And so we're going to look at mine eyes, the eyes of servants, and our eyes. So we're going to be doing that as we go through, kind of developing this theme. Also, the theme of mercy shows up. We have mercy 3 times in 2 verses. And we're going to talk about the prayer at the end of the psalm, which is based on a feeling of contempt. And those words are used there in verses 3 and 4. So we have his statement here in verse 1. We have a similitude in verse 2, an application in verse 2, a prayer in verse 3, and the reason why we're praying in verse 4. And all of this helps generate for us this picture of the psalmist as he journeys toward Jerusalem. Unto thee lift up mine eyes. Do you remember seeing those words elsewhere? Oh yeah. In our travelogue, we have it back in verse 1 of Psalm 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord. We remember that in 121. Of course, that's a very famous passage. But now here we have lifting up of the eyes again, but this time in verse 1 of 123. Unto thee lift I up mine eyes. Now in 121, verse 1, I lift up mine eyes unto the hills. Now he's not looking to hills, but he's looking to something else. He's looking to something more permanent and eternal. Unto thee. Well, this is to the Lord, isn't it? Unto thee I lift up mine eyes, O thou that dwellest in the heavens. So we know who he's talking to. We know what he's looking to. So now he's placing his faith not in the hills or looking to the hills and wondering where his help's going to come from, because the hills, he sees them as he's making his way to Jerusalem. But now his gaze is not on the hills, but has gone higher. He's looking to something more lasting and eternal. Now he's looking to heaven. So we see our progress is toward a true destination now. It's not towards a place on earth, but no, we're journeying towards a heavenly Jerusalem. Well, join me tomorrow. We'll look at verse 2, the similitude in this passage, on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio.
I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.